Hi everyone, it's Raza Von Werder, aka Kelly Everts, and I'm taking a break from my private personal childhood abuse life of being abused, and I'm talking about one of my books right now, Seeing God Face to Face, The Beatific Vision by Guru Raza Von Werder, published in 2009, I think. That's 9 years ago, right? I don't even remember. A lot of things I don't remember that I've done. You think I remember? Yeah, copyright, it says 2009. Raza Von Werder. Okay, so I am explaining how if you want to see God face to face, it's not for the faint of heart. If you want to see God face to face, this is a path you take alone. Your family and friends do not go with you. You can have no thought in your mind or any feeling in your heart except God. There are many long and laborious steps to the place you need to be in order to be ready to see God face to face. It does not mean you will, but to be ready is all you can do yourself. To be lifted up in glory has nothing to do with you personally. You can only prepare and stand in readiness and wait for God's good pleasure to do the rest. If God is not lifting you up, probably means that you are not perfectly clean of soul. To be lifted up to beatific vision is to be lifted up to heaven. And this cannot happen unless you are not only clean of sin, but the sins you have had have been paid for, so that there is no residue or filth of sin on your soul. Such a state requires purgatory, and you cannot be lifted up to heaven when you require purgatory. On top of that, you must not only be clean of sins, but also of faults. That is to say, the most minor transgressions against charity cannot be present in your soul. These faults would include not just actions, but thoughts and feelings against charity. Although it seems simple to me now that I am there in a good place, as I review the steps and think deeply about them, there is a lot of discussion to be had. For one thing, you must understand that there are many degrees of union with God. You may be in union with God, but not in the deepest union with God that is required. That is to say, holy souls are all in union with God on some level at various times in their lives. One level could be called approximate union, another would be casual or close. But there is only one level of union that is perfect in every way, and that we shall call intimate union with God. Then again, there are types of union. There is union in faith, where a soul could have perfect faith, but may not be perfect in other areas. Some people have an incredible ministry and are in perfect union in their gifts or anointings. They could be perfect healers or preachers or evangelists and do incredible good for others. But for themselves, they cannot see God face to face because they have not in perfection the one thing that is necessary for intimate union. And so, what is intimate union? What is the thing that is most absolutely necessary to see God face to face? My heart burns to tell you. I can't wait to hear it myself because I don't remember what I said. This is 9 years, 10 years ago I wrote this. You think I remember everything? I don't. I have to read my own books to remember. You must be in a place that I call humility, poverty, and perfection. These three words cover to me the requirements necessary for the greatest intimacy with God and the possibility, mind you. This is no guarantee. Nobody said it's a guarantee. Possibility of seeing God face to face. And as we explore these words and their qualities, you will see that they cover the same thing as saying, the pure in heart shall see God. I declare to you that humility, poverty, and perfection are three words meaning the same thing. You could use many other words to approximate what I am saying, including the words love and egoless. But for our purposes, I want to show you this from the point of view of these three words. Humility is to be in a place of no ego. Ego is when you separate yourself from others and in some way describe or perceive yourself as a soul, different, good, or bad creature. Ego, it's ego. In doing so, a lot of problems arise. In other words, it's a perception. Ego is a perception of yourself, who you are on earth. I'm adding some of my words now. Besides the book, I'm adding some of my own words, okay? The book is written by me, but I want to be clear. And I think sometimes it might not be perfectly clear, so I'm adding a few words, okay? In doing so, a lot of problems arise. In other words, identifying yourself as different, and evaluating yourself, judging yourself. As soon as you separate yourself from others, you think of yourself as less than them, which is wrong, or more than them, which is also wrong. Better that you do not see yourself as separate or evaluate yourself as separate, nor think of yourself at all in terms of evaluation. See, that's important. Let God do the evaluating, the judging, the sizing up, and the counting, good or bad. Try not to compare yourself with anyone. Leave them be as they are and leave yourself to be as you are, and judge no one, not even yourself. Don't judge yourself. Get it? That's important to remember. To be humble does not mean to crawl in the dust. It means to see reality. Reality. It does not mean to kiss bottoms or put on a show of humility. It means to stay quiet when people are bragging, and stop talking about yourself, and stop making people try to like you, which we all do when we're in the world. We all do. I do anyway. I'm not going to say we all. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. There is more to be said, but let us go on to the next word. The next word is poverty. Poverty means, and this is important, doesn't mean you can't pay your bills. Please hear me. Poverty means to want nothing but God. That's a big order. But you must do it. To be in poverty, you must not be attached in the flesh to people and to things. You must not cling to people, not even your own family, or be dependent on them emotionally. You must not be emotionally dependent on a lover or spouse or friends. You must be detached in the sense of animal, physical, emotional feelings. You can and should love everyone, but that is a different thing. You can love others in a spiritual way without being attached to them. To be attached to people, any people, is a sign of spiritual weakness and also makes weakness grow. All such attachments and addictions, yearnings and hunger for people must go. Your only attachment must be to God, and this must be absolute and complete. Absolute and complete. If you continue any attachments of the flesh, you will be tormented. Boy, don't we know that. You also cannot be attached to anything of the world, such as the desire for fame or fortune, comfort, or better living quarters, a higher position, recognition, applause, praise, and consolation from others, and any of the accolades of the world. You must renounce, give up the world and the flesh. Your sole consolation and desire must be in God. To know that God loves you and that God's presence, when God deems to give you this, is your sweetest, greatest joy, and nothing can take the place of it. To be continued. Seeing God face to face. To be continued.